These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
Stan Van Gundy absolutely loves Grant Williams. You heard it in the playoffs last year against the Bucks. He said it on the broadcast tonight. He's like one of the best individual defenders in the game. He's showing you what he can do. Absolutely has an agenda for Grant Williams, and I'm here for it. So I mean, shout out
Good
Van
on
Gundy.
him.
I love it. But Grant Williams is showing you why he's going to make $20 million this offseason, right? And you can make fun of me and you can say, oh, that's ridiculous. Grant should get $20 million. You're talking about a guy who can guard 1 through 5, for instance, right? You don't want him on a point guard or a center for more than a couple minutes, but he can do it. He guarded Ja this year. He guarded Jokic this year. The fact that he's been able to guard those two players effectively in the same season is a testament to how good he is on defense. He is a 40% three-point shooter. He turned his career around from his first couple seasons where he struggled, excuse me, and now he's one of the best three-point shooters in the league. Right from the corners, he's electric. He's amazing, and he's spreading that out to the wing and the top of the key too. He's just a great all-around three-point shooter. And this year, as much as I've gotten on him for pump faking too much, he's practiced and perfected almost the ability to pump fake defenders because they're jumping at every pump fake he throws up now. Get past them. Not only can he finish at the rim, but he's also making dump off passes to Rob, to whoever's in the lane. He's passing well. And from his days back at Tennessee in college, he was posting up against the Mavericks. He was posting up, getting into the paint, getting his looks. He had an and one. He screamed at the crowd. Grant Williams is a $20 million player because of how young he is and everything he can do. He is the perfect NBA role player. He absolutely deserves 18 to 20 million. $18 to $20 million this summer.
There's your short right there.
That's what I was going for.
Yep. Grant's been great. I was really impressed with him against Dallas because he was a huge tone setter in this game. This was a game where the Celtics needed that from somebody. And they were talking about some story. He sent a group text or something to like tell them to get it together. And
about body language.
He walked the walk. He came out in the first half, put up 10 big points, made some impact plays, was all over there, hustling, making the right decisions. The and one he had was a great move on a drive. Really great stuff from Grant, and he had finished with 12 points, whatever. Like, if he didn't play in the second half, I don't really care. The tone setting, to me, was just a huge part. And it's a really, like, great testament to him as a leader. Even though, like, people clown on Grant all the time and, like, we laugh at him. He is, like, nerdy, but he has good leadership qualities, and whether they always take him seriously or not is one thing, but he tries, and his mind is in the right place. He knows what it takes to motivate his teammates. And again, him walking the walk against the Mavericks is such a big thing. Like, that's huge.
He needed it. Yeah.
He was a key driving force in that win.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw the rest of the team follow suit. They continued to play hard. When he came in, mind you, the Celtics struggled to score in the first half of the first quarter.
Yeah.
Both teams.
Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown combined for 15 points in the first half, 8 points in the first quarter. Like, not a good performance from the Stars.
Nothing crazy.
Game. No.
Grant, excellent. Good on Grant.
Brought it up.
Good for him. He deserves to be paid. They should have already extended him if they didn't.
Mm-hmm. 20 million. I'm telling you, man. No, but Grant Williams, the thing is, and I said this last year, and I can't remember if I got flack for it or whatever. I think Grant Williams is the closest thing to Marcus Smart on the roster. Genuinely, right? You're talking about a guy who is going to be a leader. He's not going to be the best. Not going to be the best player in the team. I don't know if I said it or just thought it. Maybe it was just in my head. But I think Grant Williams, in terms of the impact, the leadership qualities, like just the ability to be a leader and a hustle player and all that stuff. Like, I think I said it his rookie year when he was making all those hustle plays. Like I said, okay, he could be the next Marcus. I think he's kind of doing that. Like you said with the text, like as much as maybe the players mock him or he's kind of a class clown, like he is a leader on the Celtics team. Like you said with the text, like the way he carries himself, the way he, I mean, as much as a rat move as it is, he pisses off the refs. Like he acts like a bigger player than he is, which is the one downside to his game that I'll very clearly admit. But he's a leader and he's taking on a leadership role with the Celtics. It's clear the team respects him. He's come up for them in big moments like the Game 7 against the Bucks. He's a hustle guy. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty, but at the same time, he's going to make some big time plays. And he is arguably, outside of maybe Tatum Brown, the most versatile player on the roster, right? He can play the 3, he can play the 4, he can play the 5, he can guard 1 through 5, he can shoot threes, he can pump fake and drive the closeouts, he can defend the perimeter, he can defend the post, he can play in the post, he can get bully ball down low, he can make a dump off pass on a drive. He can do a little bit of everything. He's not like, Luka Doncic level at everything. He's not going to be as good a passer as Luka, as good a scorer as Tatum, as good of a rebounder as, I was about to say Gobert, as Sabonis, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? But he is good enough at every skill to the point where he is like.
We just made all-star list. You couldn't think of anybody.
Well, I'm talking about a rebounder.
I know you had to pick pick anybody.
Sure. I want to think of like the best rebounder in the league, though, and I know Gobert's up there in boards. Anyways, my point is, he is like the perfect Swiss Army knife player with the leadership qualities attached to be worth like a hefty paycheck at what, 24, right? Like we're talking about a guy who is going to turn
24 million. I was like, oh boy.
No, 24 years old to turn into a Marcus Smart leader down the line, to turn into, I'm trying to think of others, excuse me, like the energy Bobby Portis brings off the bench for the Bucks. The Patrick Beverley type to just be on a playoff team and be that leader off the bench. And you don't have to like Patrick Beverley, but you can't deny the impact he has on winning outside of this year. Asterisks, please, asterisks. Before this year, the impact he's had on winning in the past. Like,
make this a short and have the the clip of him celebrating the play-in.
I might have to do that, but Kevon Looney in Golden State, like a glue guy. He's the perfect glue guy, and I don't think he gets enough credit. And obviously, I'm the biggest Grant Williams fan you're gonna find, but excuse me, I had a cough coming on. Brutal timing, but
the face,
the cough was bad. Our friend Banter, excuse me, is not gonna like this. He is probably one of the most important players on the roster, right? Like just everything he brings. I'm not saying he's as good as Horford or as good as Derek White or as good as anybody, but in terms of the leadership, the versatility, the two-way play, like if the Celtics if they could only protect X amount of players in an expansion draft, he's getting protected. I'll put it that way. Like it's clear he has the respect to that team. And I don't think that's valued enough, especially in contract negotiations. Like a team like the Pistons, like Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, you need a leader, you need defense, you need a little bit of everything around that team. 20 million, right? A team like the Pacers. Are you kidding me? Imagine Grant Williams playing alongside Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner, right? Like I genuinely think he could average like 15, 7, and 3. You know what I'm saying? As a role player on that team, like I think his value is severely underrated. And I think the Celtics, like you said, made a big mistake when they didn't pay him.
Well, he averages about 10 now, right?
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Around close to that. Like it's not too unrealistic to think he'll average 15. That's not why I was like smirking at Jack. Don't get me wrong.
8.8 points, 4.7 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 50, 40, 85. 51, 44, 85.
I was smirking at Jack's sheer passion about the number 12.
Come on. I got to do it.
But to your point, he is very important. And when you were talking about him, I was really trying to think. I think Marcus Smart might be more versatile just because he is able to guard all the positions too. He's a great passer. He has those leadership qualities too. They both have extreme value to the team in terms of the amount of things they're able to do, which at the end of the day is the point. And keeping Grant around is going to be important. He's going to be worth the money.
Very important.
Because it feels like every single season he gets better.
Yeah.
His rookie year, he couldn't shoot. Since then, he's been able to shoot. Took a step down his sophomore season just because the minutes weren't really there, and there was really a lot going on. That was after the bubble. They were playing in the COVID season with no people in the arena. That's a weird season. After that, last year, he had a huge year, had a big jump. This year, he built off of the season he put together last year. Like you mentioned earlier, him learning to drive the closeouts has been such a great skill for him to learn because it makes him more than just a cone on offense, which is a weird thing to say because cones are on defense. But he's not just standing there. He's not some dude playing 2K that is standing in the corner. I forget what they used to call. Oh, well, I do remember. I'm not going to say it.
Good.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it. But he's more than that. He can do stuff with the ball, and you saw it against Dallas. He had a great game against Dallas. His creativity, his aggression in the first half to get the team rolling was really something to be impressed by. And I said it before the season, really thought they should pay him. You've seen him play good defense against great players throughout the playoffs. He's someone that is going to be a key piece to your success going forward. And if he continues to get better, which he probably will, he's not going to be some superstar, but he's going to continue to be solid for you. It's worth the money.
And I'll say this. I know everyone talks about how, an Al Horford replacement. With how well he defends centers, he can be your Al Horford replacement. I genuinely believe that. And I know
I
there's
disagree because of the size, but I don't think there is necessarily an Al Horford replacement, but he is a very good alternative.
I think, I'll put it this way. I think you can run a starting lineup of Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Grant Williams, Robert Williams, and then have a good enough, traditional big man off the bench to cover for it. Because I think you can have Grant Williams guard Jokic. I think you can have him guard Embiid. I think you can have him guard Giannis effectively enough where his versatility in the starting lineup is worth it, especially when you consider the fact that he's only 24. Like you said, he's still getting better. He's still getting stronger. He's still learning how to play. And if he gets enough reps next to Robert Williams, I think they can learn to play together very, very well. And I think down the line, when you're talking about, everyone likes to talk about the timeline of, earlier this summer, don't trade Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant because of they're how young they are. We're talking about a guy who potentially, when Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are in their prime, could be the team's fourth best player. Am I wrong? Behind Tatum, behind Brown, behind Rob, when Marcus is older and, a veteran, when D. White's a veteran, if he's still around, Brogdon's still around as a veteran, Jason Tatum, the 1, Jaylen Brown, the 1B, Robert Williams, number 3, Grant Williams, number 4. That's going to probably be what your core is looking like with the guys like Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard potentially still around, whoever else you want to bring up. But Al Horford's 36. He's not going to be around for 37, 36. Not going to be around forever.
36.
So having Grant Williams, a guy who not as big, obviously, which is a concern, but can guard these big guys well, you can't let him walk. You just, if the Celtics lose Grant Williams in free agency this summer, it will be one of the biggest mistakes in a while, I would say.
Yeah. That's how you see good teams, contending teams, championship teams
fall off,
regress, and go back into mediocrity. You need to keep pieces around, especially right now. You haven't won anything yet. You still have something to work towards. You should have won something. You didn't. Did Grant play well in the finals? No. But
we don't have to talk about that.
But everything else is pretty valid. His improvement is pretty great. The only thing I disagree with is him guarding centers consistently. Not because he can't, but if you ask him to do that, it's kind of taking away from all the other things he can do.
Well, he has been doing that.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is in his sophomore season, he was asked to be a small ball 5 more often than not, and he struggled with that. He put on muscle for that, and it slowed him down and kind of made him worse. So when we've seen the best of Grant, that wasn't his job primarily.
It's not his primary
He's
job.
able to do it. And Giannis is different than the other two because Giannis plays all over the place. He plays mainly on the perimeter. You don't see a million posts up for Giannis. He scores more on the drive than a Jokic or an Embiid. And specifically with Embiid, I don't know if Grant's a great idea just because he'd have to be so physical with him because of his size. Embiid would milk that and take a million free throws.
I'll put it this way. Grant's top matchups this year, Jokic, Vucevic, Jimmy Butler, Franz Wagner, Adebayo, Paolo Banchero, Max Strus, Draymond Green, Clint Capella, Nick Claxton, Isaiah Stewart, Kyle Lowry, Porzingis, John Morant, Zach LaVine. So it's a lot of centers, some star wings, some he does a little bit of everything. And I'm not saying having him guard, Embiid for 40 minutes a game like we saw Enes Freedom do last year is a good idea, but I'm just saying having him around as a maybe not a Horford replacement, but a Horford insurance is very good. It's very good. So
it's fair.
I'll leave it at that. But
the Horford succession is a very tough thing to
Worrisome.
think about.
Yes.
Well,
You need
not
'em.
worrisome. There's plenty of time, and they could find some young player,
Mhm.
sign him. I mean, who knows? Maybe you end up liking Cavangeli. Who knows? Like that's how far away it is.
Sure. Plenty of time to do that.
Tic-taco. Come on.
Tackles.